Elite live streams are back with another one. How you guys doing out there? Welcome back to another live stream. Thank you all so much. We reached our goal of 1,000 subscribers. So salute to all of you guys out there, all of the new subscribers. Thank you so much for tapping in. All of the OGs who've been here since day one. Thank you guys for riding all the way to our first major milestone on this channel. And thank you guys so much. The support has been overwhelming, and we really do appreciate it because these milestones mean a lot to us, and we always want to make sure that we're reaching our goals and making sure that we're tapped in with our people to do it. You know what I'm saying? The support has been great, and yeah, man, I'm just really excited. I'm fired up. We got a lot of great topics to talk about. Obviously, there's been a lot going on, and I'm always paying attention. I'm always locked in. I'm always watching and seeing, how these topics kind of play out. And one of the topics, obviously, has been reparations, right? Reparations has become a worldwide conversation now, obviously, because the Black grassroots, you know what I'm saying? Foundational Black Americans have been pressing the line on the internet. We've been pressing the line in the real world. We've been out here, boots on the ground, making a lot of steps to make sure we are represented in this conversation and represented properly. And so today, that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the worldwide conversation that's been going on, right? This says the reparations conversation has gone worldwide, okay? And guess who they're upset with, guys? It always comes back, right? Every time that there's a forward movement for foundational Black Americans and our tangibles, our narratives are being pushed forward, every single time, there's always opposition. There's always people trying to insert themselves into the conversations, trying to insert themselves in front of what the motion and the forward movement, and as well just the overall momentum, right? They want to slow down the momentum, right? And I've peeped it for a very long time, and it's something that, honestly, I'm not very surprised, right? Obviously, I'm not surprised at all, but what it does speak to is the fact that I've learned a lot through this delineation process. And what I've kind of learned is the fact that no matter what we try to stand on and we try to press forward on, there's always going to be opposition against us moving in the right direction that we want to go into, right? And it's so crazy because for years, and this is something that I know a lot of you guys can also relate to, for years, foundational Black Americans have been talking about reparations. For generations, we've been talking about the atrocities that have been happening to us. For hundreds of years, foundational Black Americans have been pressing the line against white supremacy and the entire control of the white establishment. But now, all of a sudden, everyone just wakes up. Now, all of a sudden, all of these United Nations come together to acknowledge that the transatlantic slave was the biggest atrocity to humanity. And you know what that does? It really pisses me off. It pisses me off because they just say humanity, right? They only use that word. They can't even acknowledge the fact that it was to foundational Black Americans and Black people who were the biggest victims of what you guys said is the biggest crime to humanity. Now, all of a sudden, it's humanity, right? It's not us, foundational Black Americans, who have gone through this. It's not us and our people and our ancestors. It's humanity. And it really just upsets me because it really, really woke me up to the fact that there was almost this fake oversight that makes people think that everybody understands history. And all these people who come from these indigenous countries and lands, that they understand history. And a lot of them don't know crap, dude. This is what this has really helped me understand, right? Because I've taken so much time, extensive time, to gain knowledge of self and to understand what was really going on in the very beginnings of times all the way to modern history. I did that on my own. right? I've been in my own think tanks and around certain people who have shared the same ideologies and the same mentalities. But when it came down to it, I had to do my own research and I had to do my own historical data to come to the mentality that I have now, right? And a lot of people haven't done that. And it really, really upsets me because when we're having this conversation about reparations and specifically reparations for foundational Black Americans and our ancestral lineage, everything just goes out the window. Everybody doesn't know anything. Everyone's just so aloof, right? They have no clue about what happened or the history or, oh man, you know what? That actually is a good point. I didn't know that actually. And it's like, bro, aren't you from Africa? Why wouldn't you know the history of your continent? Why would you not understand the history of what your people did to those transatlantic slaves that you guys are talking about? Yet you want to chastise foundational Black Americans about making sure that if we talking about reparations, it got to make sure that you guys are specific to our lineage. Now, all of a sudden, it's a problem. Now, Black Americans, oh, y'all doing too much. Y'all should just take whatever they giving y'all. You know, at least somebody trying to do something. Meanwhile, you are totally disrespecting all of the hundreds of years of work that foundational Black Americans have done to even be in the position that we are in today. It's so disrespectful. And I just wanted to make sure that I started this stream with that because the disrespect is just at an all-time high. And the fact that so many of us have taken so much time to study and to understand exactly what happened to our people so that we could be able to have an understanding of history and as well the historical data that backs up our stances that we see in our own world every single day. All right, this isn't something new here. Every single day, there are people out here who are doing the work, who are taking the time, who are pushing the line for us. Meanwhile, like I said, you have so many people that are from the opposition who have something to say about this, right? But then it's on us, right? It's on us to be, oh yeah, you know, we're supposed to just sit back and let them do whatever. We're just supposed to sit back and take whatever happens. We're supposed to sit back and get scammed, right? Okay, cool, fine, sure, got you. So let's bring this up. I want to bring up the thumbnail first, right? Because here, what do we got, guys? We got the UN. This is the president of the UN, right? He made a whole address, right, to address the atrocities that the transatlantic slave put on humanity, right? That was his whole thing, right? And that was the start of then now you have this president from Ghana coming down to New York and doing this whole theatrical, you know, representation and respect to the ancestors, right? Meanwhile, he could have did that in his own country. Okay, because quiet is kept, there are plenty burial sites that he could have done that right over there in Ghana. And we're going to talk about that today. We're not going to let anybody just get off the hook with the BS today. Like I told you guys on my channel, we bring receipts. We're not just going to let people get this stuff off without making sure that we bring it right back to the history, y'all, okay? Because it's very important that we stay on code with this. We're not just going to let people come out here, say whatever, do whatever, and then try their best to backdoor us. No, we're not going to do that. And as well, I got Mom Donnie up here because obviously he's using this, right, as a political posturing so he can align himself with what he is trying to push for his own political gains and his own political forward movement, which has nothing to do with foundational Black Americans. Let's make that freaking clear here, all right? Anything that he's doing has nothing to do or to help our community in any type of way. So I wanted to make sure that I put these guys in the thumbnail correctly because it is very important that we put them on the Summer Jam screen, that we show the faces of the people who are aligning themselves to backdoor us later on, okay? Obviously, you got slick-haired Al Sharpton, who ain't never did nothing for foundational Black Americans other than talk. All right. done enriched himself, gained status, and also positioning, but in the same token has not helped the community in any significant ways. He as well deserves to be put right on here on the Summer Jam screen to make sure that we remember, because right now, every single foundational Black American, y'all need to remember everybody who's being a part of this. It is very important that we remember all of these people because, like I said, the disrespect is at an all-time high. And the fact that they are trying their best to move us out of a way of the movement that we built right here in the grassroots, okay? Let's keep it clear. In April is Black American Grassroots Media Month, all right? We pushing the line for that, all right? April, we are talking about Black American media and how we have made an impact in what's going on right now. This is the only reason why anybody's even talking about reparations, is because of what we're doing right here in the grassroots, how we are making forward movement every single day. All right. So look, let's start here because I want to make sure that I touch on the point that I made earlier. A lot of people don't understand history and have never taken any time to understand it at all. All they do is get on here spreading inflammatory comments, trying their best to distract from the actual factuals. I have friends who are hitting me up in the background talking about, hey, Brandy, you see the reparation stuff? And I hit them back and then it goes silent, right? Because every single time I always hit them with the facts. Hey, yo, did you see the protest though? Did you understand that foundational Black Americans don't support what's going on with this? Do you guys know what's actually happening in the community? Or are you just trying to spread these links to gaslight? That's what you're doing because you haven't taken any time to understand the history of what these specific people that came from these specific countries have done to our ancestors that are owed reparations, okay? We, as the grassroots, have to make sure that we remind you guys of this. So first things first, do you guys see this book right here? People in Bondage, right? Do you see this little sign right here that says burn? They were going to burn these books, okay? That were data and historical backing for what we talk about every day right here on Elite Media, all right? I make it very clear that I don't hop on here just talking crazy, okay? All these books and all of this stuff that I have in my home right now is all stuff that I've studied and taken extensive time to learn and to grow as a person and as also a man. There's no way that I could come on here and talk the way that I talk without having the education and the study mindset to be able to bring you guys this type of information. People in Bondage is specifically about a book that talks about the transatlantic slaves trade before the 1400s, y'all. I've taken time on my own to take these books and put them into my brain to really understand what happened to our people, to study the patterns, to study the way that we traveled, the way that we were collecting, the things that we started. That is not by happenstance. That's me taking years and years of time to make sure I educated myself so that I would have knowledge of self, so I could be totally confident and totally secure in who I am as a foundational Black American. Now, my question to you guys who get on here every day and try to come back in the back door talking, what research are you guys doing? Please bring your research to the forefront. Because enough are the days of y'all just talking. We need you to show your work, all right? Because right here on my channel, everything I do is backed up with stats and facts. Stats and facts, okay? We don't just get on here talking. Everything that I talk about is real, and you can find it right on my channel, okay? If I'm talking about giving back to the community, you can see videos of me giving back to the community. If I'm talking about foundational Black American history, you can look on my channel and look at the many of videos and live streams that I've done about foundational Black American history. If I'm talking about reparations and what we are owed, I have videos on my channel talking about the 40 acres and a mule scam that all of our ancestors had to go through. So when I see people getting on here and they just be talking, just trying their best to distract us from the conversation, now they're trying to shift the conversation to, oh, foundational Black Americans, y'all not happy? Y'all should be happy. At least somebody trying to do something. That is so disrespectful to our ancestors who have been doing stuff for hundreds of years. Pressing the line. Out here on the streets every day trying to wake people up. Trying to say, hey, man, we need to get our reparations. We need to make sure that we in line and we tapped in with one another so that when we do, we can have a community of people who understand why and what happened to us and how they backdoored us numerous times over generations. How disrespectful is it to all those people who put in so much work over so many years? How disrespectful it is to them. Those people who took time, who took years and years of time to bring these things forward. People who I talked about on my last live stream, Dr. Claude Anderson, okay? Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, people who really talked about us getting our reparations as foundational Black Americans. What happened to all their work? Their work is all null and void because some guy from Ghana comes over here and does a theatrical respect to our ancestors and lineage. Get out of here, bro. I'm so tired of this. I'm so tired of people disrespecting the work that our people have put in. I'm so tired of people coming out of nowhere who didn't take any time to study any history, but trying to tell me about what I should be doing. Trying to give these little side conversations about what I should be doing. Meanwhile, I've been doing this for years, been studying my history for years, been studying the history of the transatlantic slaves for years, man. This ain't something that we just came about overnight. No, man, this is something that has been brewing for years. And now, like I always say, the conversation now is getting hijacked, right? The credit now has to be shifted to somebody else, right? Nah, man, we not finna be doing that, y'all. We not finna be doing that. Not over here. No, sorry, not happening. So let's start with Mr. UN, right? Let's talk about, let's go to his little speech that he had that, you know, acknowledges the victims of slavery and the transatlantic slave trade, okay? Let's talk about that first so that, like I said, you can see how disrespectful these people are when it comes to not acknowledging the fact that our people were the recipients of this. It's funny, like I said, the wording that they use, the verbiage that they use, right? It was a atrocity to humanity. No, it was an atrocity to Black Americans, foundational Black Americans. But they don't want to address that, right? They don't want to address that. Okay, cool, fine, let's go.
Today, we commemorate the victims of a staggering crime. Millions of people stolen from their families and communities in Africa.
All right. Now, look, he's already talking about stolen from their communities as though these African nations didn't participate in the enslavement and the sale of our ancestors. All right. Let's not gloss over that. Let's not skip over this part, because this is a very integral part in the fact of the transatlantic slave that these people are now trying to come over here and get reparations for, when they were a key component in a part of what happened over there. Yet we are supposed to not acknowledge this. We're supposed to just gloss over this. We're just supposed to forget. No, we're not. We're not going to gloss over that fact. Not a single part of that.
Trafficked across the Atlantic, and if they survived the journey, enslaved in the Americas. Millions more were born into bondage, brutally exploited for their labor, and denied their basic humanity. We honor their quiet resilience and courageous acts of open resistance. This global order prevailed for over 400 years.
Now listen, it's funny how now they're honoring, right? They're honoring the ancestors now, right? They're honoring our lineage now, right? They're honoring what the people had gone through. Meanwhile, like he mentioned, for 400 years, we have been talking about this. We have been pressing the line about this. And they tried their best to gaslight us, to make us forget our history, to tell us that you guys are just being dramatic. You're being emotional. What? What happened, y'all? And this is why I always say, foundational Black Americans, we are the trendsetters. We are the ones who get the conversations going. We are the activists. We are the ones who started this entire movement when it comes to reparations. And what was the catalyst for that? Us standing on business and delineating ourselves from everybody else and asking for the tangibles that are entitled to us and our ancestors. That is the catalyst for everything that has happened since then. Isn't it funny? Isn't the timing just hilarious, right? Just how funny the timing is. All of a sudden, now the UN wants to address it. Now the Democrats want to address it. The Republicans obviously have tried to use that to gaslight, whatever. But now everybody's on the same page. Salute to the grassroots. Salute to Black media. Salute to foundational Black Americans who have been standing on business for hundreds of years, making sure that y'all don't forget what we went through. Because if we stopped, if we was like everybody else and just say, you know what, we're going to stop complaining about it, this would never be happening right now. No one would even be talking about this right now if it wasn't for us constantly not allowing people to backdoor us and forget what happened to us. All right? We're not going to let you guys we're not going to let you gloss over that fact that for 400 years, we have been pressing the line for this, and y'all tried y'all best to disrespect us and our ancestors, to disrespect what we was going through and the ancestral pain, suffering, and PTSD that we still suffer from today. How disrespectful of these people to come on here and try to make it seem like, oh yeah, now we're in line with you guys. Yeah, right. You guys were the ones who were gaslighting us for generations, making it seem like this never happened. Now we were just being dramatic. Nah, man, we ain't gonna allow that. Hell no. Nah.
And houts our world even now.
Make sure you guys like the video.
Systems and institutions shaped and enriched by chattel slavery, in social and economic inequalities rooted in past injustices, and in biases that permeate our culture and impact us all. On this International Day of Remembrance of the victims of slavery and the transatlantic slave trade, we are called to confront these legacies.
We have been calling for you guys to confront this for generations, y'all. Family, foundational Black Americans have been the only ones who have held white supremacy accountable for their atrocities that they've done over generations worldwide. All right. And that's why when the delineation movement started, we were so hurt because we had been pressing the line for so many different people for so long. And just for y'all to disrespect us when we start to acknowledge our lineage and separate ourselves, it really did upset us. Because we took so much time to include all these other groups saying, hey, man, these were worldwide atrocities that happened to us. Y'all should be upset about that, too. Meanwhile, y'all said that we was crying, that we was complaining, that we should be happy about what we got. Nah, we not finna just let that just slide over. We're not just gonna let you guys do that. Because like I always say, we are the ones who have been holding the line since day one. Okay, my ancestors are a part of that lineage. Okay, the ones who had to fight every single day to have just a little bit of what we wanted to be able to show as a normal life here in the United States of America. Meanwhile, everybody else comes over here, talks down on us, makes it seem like we're tripping, we're going out of our way, all this other stuff. Nah, man, we not finna just let y'all get that off, man. No, bro. No. It ain't just y'all. It ain't just, oh, we now need to pay respects and honor it. You guys need to do more, and you guys haven't been doing more. And it shows us now that all that stuff that y'all been talking for all these other years, you guys were just gaslighting and lying to us, man. It was all lies and gaslighting, man. That's all it was. And I'm so upset with this, bruh.
By rejecting the false narrative of racial difference and the ugly lie of white supremacy, by
Bro.
dismantling racism online, in the media, in schools, at work, in politics, and within ourselves, and by working for truth, justice, and repair.
Look how they can just acknowledge all the systemic racism that foundational Black Americans have been talking about for generations. Meanwhile, before all this, nobody had nothing to say. Everybody was quiet. Nobody had anything to say. Now, all of a sudden, everyone can acknowledge what happened to us. Now, all of a sudden, everyone can acknowledge the fact that foundational Black Americans are owed reparations. Our ancestors are actually owed what? Man, come on, y'all. Do you not see the play? I'm just here to point out the hypocrisy. Because like I said, a lot of people who you think should know history have no understanding of it. They've taken no time. All they want to do is argue with foundational Black Americans on the internet all day, telling us that we don't have culture, telling us that we don't know our history, telling us this or that. Y'all complain, y'all lazy. Meanwhile, he's acknowledging the fact that there's systemic racism throughout this entire 400 years. Right? Now, all of a sudden, everybody's just waking up. Isn't that hilarious?
I welcome the initial steps by some governments to address the consequences of slavery, but far bolder actions by many more member states are needed, including commitments to respect African countries' ownership of their own resources, and steps to ensure their equal participation and influence in the global financial architecture and the UN Security Council. Together,
make sure you
let
guys
us
like
commit
the
to a
video,
world where all
subscribe if
people
you have not
live and
subscribed
thrive
already.
in dignity.
You know what I'm saying? All right. So that's from the UN right there. Okay. Boom. UN acknowledging the atrocities that the transatlantic slave had on humanity, right? The atrocities, right? So let's talk about what I just said, right? This book right here, right? People in Bondage, right? This book was going to be burned, okay? I have it in my own possession. I've read this book extensively. It always helps me understand what's going on, right? This book was written by an African, okay? L.H. Ofosu Appiah, all right? That's who wrote that book, all right? And it talks specifically about how the African nations participated in the transatlantic slave with a collusion with United European countries and Portugal and Spain. All right. So let's talk about it, right? Because it's very easy. This information is very easy for you guys to come across nowadays, especially with the help of the Googler. All right. Everybody talks Google. All right. Let's talk about it. All right. The region of modern day Ghana was a central hub in the transatlantic slave trade, acting as a major site for European slave forts and the kidnapping of over 1 million Africans. Local leaders and traders, such as the Ashanti, participated by selling captives to Europeans at coastal castles like the Elmina and the Cape Coast. This is information that is readily available to you guys, and I suggest that you do your own research to make sure that when we have these conversations about reparations, that you guys understand that anyone who is a part of the Ghana faction, they are a part of a backdoor, forward, progressive, aggressive movement to stop what foundational Black Americans are doing right here in America to get what is owed to us and our ancestors. Okay? Because these people participated in the enslavement of the ancestors that came here on those boats. All right? And as well, they played a key part man, let me continue because we're gonna talk about it, okay? Ghana was the center of the British slave trade for nearly 150 years. I repeat, Ghana was the center of the British slave trade for nearly 150 years. Family, what are we talking about, family? What are we really talking about? What are we talking about? A Trojan horse? Are we talking about some kinfolks who really ain't a part of what we got going on? All skin folk and kinfolk? That speaks to this right here. I will repeat. Ghana was the center of the British slave trade for nearly 150 years. Okay? And mind you, this information is readily available. All right? Just go ahead and read. Read a book. Read a book. Get your literacy up. Get your understanding up. Before you guys try to come around me talking that talk, you better be having your literacy up. You better know what you're talking about because it's going to get debunked every single time because I'm going to bring the truth. All right. I'm not just going to get on here talking to y'all, just trying to, drum up some emotions. We're going to bring the receipts every single time because that's what we do on Elite Media, man. We bring the receipts. All right. European nations, British, Dutch, Portuguese, Danish, and Sweden built over 40 castles and forts along the coast to hold enslaved people, notably the Elmina Castle and the Cape Coast Castle. All right. They are doing tours right now at these castles. People who are of Ghanaian descent, so they cannot act like they don't know what happened. They cannot act that they cannot act like they were not participants in the enslavement of the ancestors who were sent here. They cannot gloss over the fact that they played a huge part in what is happening and what has happened to our ancestors. All right. And that's why it's such a circular conversation when people try to play these games with us, talking about, y'all got to make sure that you're attached to the African continent and all this stuff. How can we be attached when we study the history and the history told us that the people that y'all want to attach to us were the ones who were actually enslaving and selling to us for their own monetary gains? And I say monetary because they did all that and they still never were able to achieve the status and the legacy that we have created right here in the United States of America. We built this country into the number one superpower on our backs, the backs of our ancestors and what they put in. We created the number one country in all of the world. And yet we're going to gloss over the fact that they took all of that money, all of those resources from all of these different European countries. And we're supposed to just not acknowledge the fact that they've done nothing with that. And then at the same time, we're also supposed to trust them to be able to give us what they say that they're entitled to. Do y'all see the play? Because I'm going to continue to bring the facts. We're just going to keep going. OK, many enslaved Africans were shipped to the Americas from these sites, with Asin Manso serving as a major slave market before transit. Okay, these were huge sites, castles, and as well slave markets that were owned and created by the people who are now trying to say that they are entitled to the reparations that foundational Black Americans have been fighting for hundreds of years. Now, let's keep it clear, man. The history speaks for itself. Okay? The history speaks for itself. All right? Because at the end of the day, when I speak, it's always from a historical data standpoint. Anything that I'm talking about is readily information that you guys can go and find for yourself. But my job as this content creator with a platform is to be able to speak it to you guys so y'all can be educated and take this out to wherever you have to go and the conversations that you guys may have, that you can debunk any of these talking points. We're supposed to be happy that Ghana came over here to try to hijack the conversation that foundational Black Americans have been having for hundreds of years. And then we're supposed to just step back and let them take the credit. We're supposed to just step back and allow them to get the resources and the money and the entitlement that is due to us and our ancestral lineage. We're just supposed to sit back and allow people who are willing participants in one of the biggest atrocities to humanity, yet we're just supposed to act like that didn't happen? Bro, y'all got to study your history. Pick up a book, read a book, specifically this one, People in Bondage, that I have in my possession. Like I said, they were going to burn these books because the information in these books debunks any of the BS that they could talk about right now. The narrative and propaganda that is constantly spread every single day is because of what they're trying to hide, what they're trying to keep from you guys, what they are trying their best to suppress. Okay, like I tell you guys, these type of videos, I can guarantee you that the YouTube algorithm will try their best to suppress this type of video, because all I'm doing is spreading historical data. All right, I'm not doing nothing but giving you guys the facts. All right, and these are the facts. Okay, so let's continue with the facts. Okay, while Europeans built the forts, many captives were kidnapped and sold by local African elites. I repeat, while Europeans built the forts, many captives were kidnapped and sold by local African elites, including the Bono State and Ashanti people, often to obtain goods like firearms and textiles. These are all notes that I took myself, okay, to make sure that I bring it to you guys. All right. This is a part of my platform and what we do over here. When you look at my intro video, one of the first things it shows, foundational Black American history. All right. That's what we do over here. We bring the historical data right to the forefront so that there can be no confusion about what happened and what they did to our people. Because you know what? The ancestors visit me in my dreams, y'all. They bring me these stories. They bring me these visions, bro. And all I do is just chase the information. I mean this from the bottom of my heart, man. I'm a very spiritual person. Naturally, foundational Black Americans, we're very spiritual people. So naturally, when I sleep, I take my dreams very serious, especially the ones I can remember. And when I see my ancestors coming to me and they circle me and they bless me, it is my duty to get on here and to speak with a certain conviction and understanding, because I took the time to research, to read, sit with myself and learn what actually happened to my people. Like I told y'all, they was going to burn these books. These books were going to be burned because the information that is available in these books debunks everything that we were taught in our school systems. Okay? It cannot be debunked, because if you look up the research and do your own statistical data, you're going to find out what is really going on. All right? So let's continue, because I'm going to keep going. Approximately 1 million Africans were trafficked from the 1440s to the 1880s. And like we mentioned, while the Europeans built the forts, many of the captives were kidnapped and sold by local African elites, including the Bono State and the Ashanti tribes, often obtaining goods and firearms, and as well textiles. All right, they sold us for nothing, y'all. Our ancestors were sold for nothing, okay? Trust me. All right, salute to Mr. Know-It-All. You ain't going to get the support with the last name Bay, because that's close to Pan-Africanism. Just saying, that's a lie, because obviously people still support me, bro. I don't know if you've noticed, but we're over 1,000 subs here, so I could care less about what you're talking about, bro. Because everybody, you can, like I said, my real name, you can easily find it, brother. All right. And my real name is a foundational Black American name. My name is Brandon Brown, like the color. All right. So Brandon Bay, surname, obviously, but we already know what that is. If you understand knowledge of self, you understand why I call myself Brandon Bay, but you're too lame to get that, bro. You don't understand it. You, Mr. Know-It-All, don't know nothing at all. Mr. Don't know nothing at all, obviously, bruh, because when it comes down to it, my ancestors and my lineage is specific to the Americas. I come from indigenous roots. Indigenous roots. All right. So when we talking about the indigenous people, I'm part of that. So Mr. Know-It-All, I hope you don't, get too offended by the way that I talk, because I'm a real man and this is how real men speak. Know your history, family, before you come on here talking to me, brother, because I know mine. Do you know yours? That's the question we all have to ask. All right. So now let's continue. So African rulers and merchants engaged in the transatlantic slave trade by exchanging captured people, often from rival kingdoms and wars, for European goods, including firearms, textiles, alcohol, and tobacco, family. All right? Let's make it clear that when people are speaking about these type of historical data, this has to be added to the conversation, especially when it's surrounding reparations. Africans were a willing participant in the transatlantic slave trade. They were given, like I mentioned, firearms, textiles, alcohol, and tobacco. Now, with all those things that they were given, with all the money and the things that they amassed, where are the countries today? What happened? Ain't that just poetic justice? They sold all of our ancestors. They participated in the enslavement of our ancestral peoples. Yet they have nothing to show for it today. And you want to know why foundational Black Americans hold the United States of America accountable for reparations? Because we know for a fact that what they benefited from those reparations is still in their families. That generational wealth that we always talk about is still a part of their old money structure, right? The old money structure is a part of why foundational Black Americans feel so serious when it comes to reparations, because we still see that money and we know that they have that money. And that's why we're going to hold them accountable until we get it for our communities, because that is money that is entitled to us. Okay? And like I said, I have done a live stream on my channel that specifically went into the 40 acres and a mule lie that they spread across to us, these land deeds and this money that was supposed to be allocated to the people after chattel slavery was abolished. All right. These things were entitled to our people. People were given deeds. People were actually about to cohabitate those lands. Some of them were already on those lands, just for them to be taken away, destroyed, killed. You already know what happened. Okay. So when we talk about what your countries, the African nations, what they took to be able to enslave people and then sell them and to not have anything to show for it today, in my opinion, is poetic justice and karma. Okay? Because when you participate in what the enemy has going on, you will never be blessed. And that's just a fact. Okay? The ancestors will never bless you when they know what y'all did. Y'all think all those millions of our ancestors who were clearly done extremely dirty, because I can't say some of the words of what they were done, but it was, you already know what happened to our people. You can't tell me that that energy just goes away and now we could just have a clean slate and then we could actually benefit from the pain and suffering of those people that y'all participated in actually enslaving. Hold up. Hold up. We gotta wait on that. Let me repeat. There's no way that you could ever feel like you are deserved anything when you were a willing participant in that slave trade. I'm sorry, you will never be blessed. That's just what it is, man. Like I told you, my ancestors come to me in my sleep, bro. I'm connected, totally locked in. So I don't care what none of y'all got to say, okay? These deals allowed African elites to increase their wealth and military power while devastating regional population stability. Isn't that just a great metaphor for what the African continent looks like today? All right. You have the rich, and you have the poor. Ain't no middle. Okay. That is exactly what happened. And you know what? This is also my point. Hey, Ghana, y'all should go handle y'all people in power. Y'all should go hold them accountable for your ancestors and what they did to your ancestors instead of coming over here trying to hijack what we got going on, trying to get in front of what we've been pressing a line on, trying to hijack the movement. I really think that y'all should go and talk to your people in power. Y'all should talk to those European countries who participated in this. You should talk to your African elites who were the part of everything that they had going on, family. That's what I think y'all should be doing. Okay? Because, like I will mention again, these deals allowed African elites to increase their wealth and military power while devastating the regional population stability. While devastating the regional population stability. If you picked up a book, if you went and did your own research, you would know that they were a part of this. You would know the real history of what happened to our people. You would understand what happened to our people. But what we're not going to do is allow you guys to hop on here and try to hijack the movement. That's what we're not going to do. All right. What we're not going to do is allow people like Al Sharpton to try to hop up here so he can get a check. We're not going to allow Mamdani to hop up here just so he can get a check. We're not going to allow the UN to try to address what's been happening. Meanwhile, for over 400 years, we've been talking about this and pressing the line on it. Foundational Black Americans have been talking about what happened to our ancestors for generations, and they tried to gaslight us and make us think that we was lying, make us think that we was complaining, make us think that we was doing too much and we're emotional. Nah, fam. Nah, bro. Y'all not finna do that, bro. Y'all not finna do that. Look at this. Look at this. Okay? This is what's happening, bruh. People trying to hijack the movement of people who've been doing the work for hundreds of years. Okay? Our people. So now let's talk about the economic agreements that these African nations made. Okay? Coastal rulers and merchants, such as the Kingdom of Congo and the Dohimi people, traded captives for luxury goods, cowrie shells, and weapons. We're talking about the economic agreements, y'all. The economic agreements that they made during the slave trade, which they're trying to say was the biggest atrocity to humanity. All right. Meanwhile, they want to leave out the fact that the African nations participated in this. All right. It's very funny how that very important part of this whole story gets left out. Okay, I'm going to repeat just so we can make sure that we are bringing it home. Coastal rulers and merchants, such as those in the Kingdom of Congo and the Dohimi people, traded captives for luxury goods, cowrie shells, and weapons. Okay, I'm gonna let that just marinate in your mind. The fact that this is happening and has been happening, and the fact that they are trying to hijack the conversation. They are trying to get in front of it when they were a part of it, y'all. How sadistic, How crazy is this? How crazy is this? They were a part of it, and now they're trying to benefit from it. Nah, bro, we're not going to allow that, fam. All right. The military partnerships that were going on, all right? Some states, notably the Ashanti Empire, used European firearms obtained through these slave trades to fuel further expansion, capturing more people to enslave to fuel the cycle. All right? This is very, very real information that I'm spreading with y'all right now. And I have to be careful because I wanted to show you guys videos, but YouTube will play with your videos. They will make it to where they'll put copyrights on your videos to make sure that they hold down the spread of it, man. Hey, man, they are trying to Blue Lives Matter, our reparation struggle. Yes, sir, Mr. Know-It-All, 100%. They trying to, like I said, they are trying their best to backdoor the movement. They see the forward momentum that foundational Black Americans are making on tangibles that we've been asking for, tangibles that we've been pressing the line on for generations. They see it, okay? We're not the only ones on the internet, y'all, okay? We're not the only ones who are paying attention to what's going on. So naturally, they are doing everything in their power to hijack the movement, to take it over, to say, nah, we got it now. No. What you're not going to do is we're not going to repeat history. We're not going to repeat history. That's all I'm going to say, okay? So I will continue, right? Some of these African states, notably the Ashanti Empire, used European firearms and obtained them through the slave trade to fuel further expansion, capturing more slaves to fuel the cycle. Like I said, if y'all took time to listen and read books, okay, books that are illegal, all right, like I said, you can see right there, they were going to burn these books. These are books filled with information that y'all need to make sure that you stay on code and understand what's really going on. I'm not going to allow y'all to be lost in the sauce over here. We're going to make sure that we stay on code. And I'm going to make sure that I bring you guys the real data, the historical facts, and not allow people to try to hijack what we got going on over here as foundational Black Americans. I will not allow it on my watch. While I'm here, we're going to make sure we stick to the facts. Okay? So let me continue. African leaders permitted European traders to build fortified trading posts and factories on the coast for storing slaves in exchange for regular taxes and custom duties, family. Hey, salute to you, Charles. Thank you for pulling up, man. I hope you guys are subscribed and I hope you like the video. Yes, we are making sure that we are standing on business and we're going to bring the receipts. All right. Do not get lost in the sauce when they are trying to hijack a movement that foundational Black Americans have been fighting for generations. Okay. When we talk about who was the participants, who was a part of this, let's talk about it. All right. The African leaders were permitting European traders to build fortified trading posts and factories on the coast of their own countries to what? To store captives in exchange for regular taxes and custom duties. And like I always mention, it's very funny how they had all these resources and all this stuff that they were gifted, and yet their countries are in terrible shape. God does not bless a mess. Okay? The Most High knows what these people did, and he will never bless them for what they did to us and our ancestors. Meanwhile, they're trying to backdoor us and come back over here and say that, yeah, we need to pay respects to the ancestors. No, you need to pay respects to your people over there who were actually a part of what the people that you guys enslaved. Y'all need to go to them European countries and ask them to pay you reparations. We got our own fight that we got against the white supremacists right over here in America. And we got to hold them accountable because we know that they are still benefiting from money that was generated during slavery against our people. We know this for a fact. So when that's being said, now we need to go ahead and get our bread, man. Give me my bread. Run me that. Run me that, fam. What we talking about, bro? FBA Renaissance movement. Reparations in the form of cash payments and an anti-black hate crime bill. Yes, sir. Thank you, Charles. That's 100% what we on. And we're going to stand on that. We're going to make sure that we keep pressing that line because there are so many people out here who have played with our name, who are out here playing in our face, y'all, who are not doing the work. Okay, like I told y'all, if y'all sat back and actually did the research, took some time to read a book, took some time to actually study instead of coming at us. No, bro, go do your own research. Go do a study. Go find out your knowledge of self. Because so many of us as foundational Black Americans, we've already done that. And I mean that. That's why I love the people who patronize my channel because y'all have intellect. Y'all have done the time. Y'all have done the work. And you resonate with what I have to say because this is what we should be doing. All right? Supporting one another and making sure that we own that. Yes, sir. Anti-black hate crime bill. Yes, sir. We need that. We need that right now. We need that. We need reparations. And like I mentioned, we need the oversight and the funding like all the rest of these other groups get to open small businesses and create our own infrastructure for us to insulate ourselves and our businesses. How many little Japans have you been to? How many little Filipino have you been to? How many small Mexican little collectives have you been to? Foundational Black Americans, we need that as well. We need our own districts to be able to patronize businesses and support and spend our dollars amongst each other. That's the other tangible that we need. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to bring that to the forefront is for all of my small business owners out there who have trouble getting the funding, who have trouble getting the backing. Meanwhile, somebody can come from a different country and be able to open up a storefront. Nah, fam. We need that too. We need that 100%. So let's continue. All right. Enslaved Africans were sold to European traders, British, Portuguese, and French in exchange for goods with local brokers who are of African nations, often negotiating the price. I repeat, okay, because I don't know if y'all really heard that, okay? African leaders, enslaved Africans were sold to European traders, the British, the Portuguese, and the French in exchange for goods with local African brokers, often negotiating the price on the coast, y'all. Now, let me get this straight. You got people who are telling us that they're here to help us get reparations. Meanwhile, they were the ones setting the price for the ancestors that were sold. Listen, man, y'all need to wake up. Y'all need to wake up, okay? And stop allowing the propaganda and the forward-facing propaganda get in the way of the real. And this is the real. I'm spreading the real right now, okay? And mind you, this is all notations and all notes that I have taken time extensively to put together so that I bring it to y'all so that we can make sure that we locked in on what's going on and that we don't fall for the okie doke, because I refuse for history to repeat itself. Delineation, we are past the point of no return. Ain't no coming back. So everybody is looked at with a side eye. Everybody. You got to prove what you're trying to do. And I got to know what you're on before we can even support you. That's how we're moving now in the foundational Black American community. Gone are the days of us blindly trusting people who look like us. Those days are done. Where are you from? Who are you? Who do you represent? Why are you here? Those days are done, man. We're on a whole different route. Like you said, we on a renaissance right now, okay? While some coastal nations became key suppliers, modern day Angola, all right, many other inland societies were involved and were a part of the slave trade. Guys, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. There is no way that I am going to allow anybody to come over here and try to hijack the movement that a lot of my ancestors have been putting in for generations. We will not allow them to co-opt something that is being built from the grassroots level. This is a grassroots movement. Reparations was built by the grassroots. So when we talk about this, when we see people who are a part and were willing participants in the enslavement of these people, and y'all now are trying to backdoor it and say that you're entitled to said things, brother, I must stand on business behind this. I must not allow any of the BS to happen. Because why? Because we've done our research. We've taken extensive time with this. We've sat back, studied every single day sometimes to make sure that I was locked in with knowledge of self and understanding who I am, who my ancestors were, and what they did here in this country. And then once I figured that out, I went outward. And then I started picking up books like this. All right. I started picking up other books. I wish I could just go through all the books that I have in my place right now, but it would take too long. Maybe I'll do a separate video where I'm just like going through the books that I read and that I studied to be able to gain the level of understanding that I have. But in reality, it's not on me to do that. It's on y'all. You, as whatever you represent outside of the foundational Black American community, it's on you to do your research and study your history. Because if you did, you would understand that the people that you want to try to hold accountable for reparations, you actually were working with them. And not only that, if you were to go to them for reparations, they would bring up the receipts just like I did. Right? So it's very funny. Like, can't you guys see how funny that is? They can't even go to those countries that they're trying to say, oh, or were a part of the slave trade. Meanwhile, you guys were willing participants in it. So now you got to come over here, right? You got to try to push it now to America. Oh, America owes us reparations. No, they do not. They owe foundational Black Americans reparations. They owe our ancestors reparations. They owe our ancestors land grants. Okay? We are the ones who are entitled to this. We are the ones who have, over generations, been disrespected, lied to, taken advantage of, M-worded, R-worded, okay? L-worded. I could keep going, okay? Y'all are the ones. Straight up, man. Hey, salute to Mr. Know-It-All. He said field order number 15 has nothing to do with Africa. Listen, man. Listen. That's why I love the people who patronize my channel, because y'all know what's going on. Y'all know, y'all understand the history. Y'all took time. And I love the fact that whatever the algorithm is doing with my channel, it is getting me to the people that get it. You know what I'm saying? I try my best to stay away from any of these circular conversations that don't move anything towards the tangibles, right? And my goal is to always make sure that we build these stories and the data behind that, right? because the tangibles are the only thing that matters here. The work, boots on the ground are the only things that matter here. Okay? Like I said, when I talk about being active in the community, you can look on my channel and you can see videos of me active in my community, giving back and helping others. When I talk about the history of my community, you can look at extensive videos and live streams on my channel talking about the history. And as well, the understanding that it takes to get here, the mindset of staying locked in and keeping our eyes on the prize, not being distracted by all these other groups who are trying to take us off our square. Foundational Black Americans, we are fighting hard right now. We're working hard right now. And you guys need to make sure you give yourself more credit. Okay? Enough with having these circular conversations with people who didn't take any time to understand history. I'm literally breaking it down for y'all, how these people participated in the slave trade, how they participated in the enslavement, how they were actually enriching themselves from it, how they benefited from it. Meanwhile, they're trying to as well backdoor us and say, nah, man, you guys need to actually be, I thought y'all was happy that somebody is speaking on reparations. I thought this was, it's like, nah, bro, we're not finna do that. We're not finna do that. Because all that does is create a narrative as though we should just be happy with whatever and whoever. And like I said, those days are done. We refuse to repeat history. Gone are the days of us just trusting people who look like us. Those days are done. Where are you from? What's your lineage? And what are you going to do for foundational Black Americans? That's it. The conversation is dead after that. If we don't get those three out the way first, I don't even want to continue the conversation, because I have too many things that are pressing in my own world and in my own community that I have to do. Okay? Last Saturday, well, today's Monday, but on Saturday, we spent all day giving out food to people of the less fortunate. Friday, we spent all day putting together all this food, making sure that it was ready for the people. I don't have time to be worried about people who are not boots on the ground and actually doing the work in the community. I'm not going to sit up here and allow people to try to disrespect the people who are doing the work. Like all of our foundational Black American brothers and sisters who was out there protesting when the people came to New York, Mom Donnie and all these other people who was out there, these people right here. Salute to all of the foundational Black American people who was out there protesting and making sure that their voices was heard. Salute to them, man. Salute to them. A round of applause for them. Applause to them for what they were doing, all right? Because they stood on business. They said, no, we see the play that y'all trying to do, and we gonna hop out here and make sure that y'all know that we ain't going for it. So salute to them, okay? And the fact that I've seen so many people try to say, well, I don't really see no foundational Black Americans out in the field, though. I don't really see them out boots on the ground. No, you're lying, bruh. You're lying. Because like I said, I've posted many of videos right here on my channel talking about foundational Black Americans doing the work in our community. Okay. One of my first videos that actually did super well was me talking about a bill that was being passed right here in our community. Okay. My community in LA. All right. Where they were talking about reparations and setting it up for us. Right. The bill SB 515. If that's how you found my channel, salute to you. But that was one of my most popular videos on my channel right now. And that was done by somebody in our community who is a foundational Black American. So when I hear a lot of these talk and people just be talking, they're liars, because I literally have people right here on my phone who I talk to every day who are running for seats in Congress, who are running for seats in a lot of this political realm, and they're foundational Black Americans. I mean, that's why I told y'all, man, I ain't finna sit up here and go back and forth with y'all all day, because there's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes that I really can't speak on. But the fact of the matter is there's a lot of movement happening. And I want y'all to know that it is. I want you guys to be encouraged in the fact that we are doing the work and we are boots on the ground. I want you guys to be encouraged of the fact that we are the culture, that we are the trendsetters, that we are the ones who made this a global conversation. Salute to all Black media out there who have been holding the line. All right. And like I said, April is the month for Black Media Awareness Month. All right. Black Media Awareness Month is in April. I'm following right behind the professor. All right. Professor Black True. Salute to him. All right. April, we talking about that. Black American media, how we have been able to push the narrative and create the grassroots movements that have birthed this conversation of reparation going worldwide. And you want to know why? Well, I don't really have to say it, but to those who don't know, this is as big of a time that the Democratic Party needs foundational Black Americans in the history of their parties. This is the biggest time that the Republicans have ever needed foundational Black Americans. All of these specific groups need us right now. And guess what we decided to do? We said, nah, we good. We gonna figure out what we got going on over here. We're gonna get our shit together. We're gonna make sure that we particularly do not allow you guys to gaslight us into something that doesn't produce tangibles. Right? We need them tangibles, y'all. That's it. That's the conversation. If the conversation is not dealing in tangibles, we don't want to have it. And we're not going to allow some people from over there who participated in the enslavement and as well the atrocities that these people talk about, we're not going to allow them to be the forefront of this. Sorry, it's over. And so obviously the American government agreed. That got shut down real fast. We're not even going to play that video because, like I said, I don't know what YouTube be doing, but it's like when I be trying to share certain videos, they'll hit me with that copyright. So I got to be very particular in how I move now with the content. Obviously, like I said, I take extensive notations and I do a lot of preparation before I hop on here and give y'all a live stream. All right. Because I don't just come off here off the dome. I know a lot of people, they freestyle it and they just get on here and say whatever. I don't move like that. Everything I do is preparation. I prepare very extensively before I hop on here to give you guys what I just brought to you today, right? So with that being said, I hope that you guys have subscribed to the channel. I really do, because our channel is growing and we're doing great. I really do hope that you guys are enjoying the content, because I try my best to be as entertaining as I can be. But in reality, you know, if we're keeping it a buck, like all of the things that I'm passionate about or that I speak on is real stuff. So it's easy for me to just be like, yo, like this is how I feel, blah, 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 blah. But in reality, like this is stuff that I genuinely do, and I'm on top of it, man. Straight up. All right, let's see. Mr. Know-It-All says asking for reparations from African nations is a shot at African Brits. Yeah, man. Listen, bro, that's who they need to be asking, because like I just mentioned for you guys, they were willing participants in the slave trade. All right. So what y'all need to do specifically, if you guys want to talk about reparations, y'all need to go to African nations. You need to go to the African elites. You need to go to the African governments and ask them, what did you guys do with all that money that you guys made from the slave trade? How did that actually help and build infrastructure for what we have here? And how did foundational Black American slaves create the #1 nation in the entire world, yet the entire continent of Africa can't even get it together? How's this? I need answers. I know y'all need answers, but I do too, because if, like I said, if we're sticking to the historical data that I brought to you guys specifically speaks to the fact that these nations participated with collusion to the British, the Portuguese, and the French governments to be able to enslave our ancestors. So if that's what happened, where'd the money? Where did all this go? How is our infrastructure the way that it is right now? Why are we at the bottom? But we have all these resources and we have all these, natural resources and all these things. Okay, why have you guys not become the #1 continent? Oh, that's right, because y'all people sold y'all out. That's why, because y'all people sold you out. And now you have a responsibility to hold them accountable, like foundational Black Americans have been holding these people accountable for generations. All right. We are the ones who sparked everything else because we hold the white supremacists accountable. We hold the white establishment accountable. We hold the American government accountable for what they did. And we will never let them forget it. Never. We will never allow them to forget what they did to our ancestors and the fact that we are entitled to these lands that they stole from us. Because like I mentioned, a lot of us come from indigenous roots, okay? A lot of us come from indigenous backgrounds, okay? A lot of us were here, all right? Through ethnogenesis, we became foundational Black Americans, okay? Through the admixture of the indigenous people and the slave trade, we become foundational Black Americans. So the fact of the matter is, when I hear these people talking about reparations, guess what, sir, from Mr. Ghana? Guess what, Al Sharpton? Guess what, Mom Donnie? All y'all need to go over there and talk to their people and ask them what happened to all the money that you guys enriched yourselves by the enslavement of these African slaves. Where did it go? Where's all the infrastructure? What happened? Help me understand, y'all, because I don't get it. I don't understand how we as foundational Black Americans are pushed to the side, but meanwhile, we're the ones who brought the conversation to the table. We're the ones who holding everybody accountable. We're the ones who are saying, no, our people were entitled to this and we want it now. We're not waiting anymore. We're not going to allow you guys to tell us anymore who we are and what we should be doing, man. It's crazy, bro, because this is where we're at, dog. And it's very important for me to make sure that I always bring these things to the forefront, that I'm always going out of my way to show you guys the historical data that backs up my argument. I will never get on here just spewing stuff, just saying stuff. I will always be on here making sure that I bring the historical data to back up my arguments. We're not going to do that, bruh, because there's a lot of people in this space, and I mean this respectfully. There's a lot of people in this space who have the understanding, who have the aggression and the mindset to constantly debate with these people. Like I told you, I can't do that. I don't do that because it gets to a certain point where it gets circular and I'm going to get upset because I'm not going to argue with nobody who don't understand the history, who didn't do the education and the time that it took to reach the level that I'm at. Like, we're not going to do that. We not, bro. Hey, salute to Mr. Know-It-All. He says, we even hold the Palestinians accountable for what the Black Palestinians endured. Same with Iran and South America. We speak on it, not them. Facts, because they're scared, bro. And I say this all the time on my channel, bro. These other groups are scared, bro, because they want to align themselves with the white establishment. They want to be in good with the white establishment. They want to be patted on the head by the white establishment. Meanwhile, foundational Black Americans, we walk in the room like, where our money at? What's going on? Like, I need that. I need this so I can get away from y'all people. That's how we move, because we've been here for generations and we saw how they move, how they lie, cheat, and steal. So we come with a different energy. We ain't trying to just be friends. Nah, bro. Nah, we understand who our enemy is and we don't play them games. We not trying to be looked at as, the model minority. We could care less about that, bro. I want reparations now. I want an anti-Black hate crime bill now. I want tangibles for my people now. I don't want to wait, bro. And the fact that these people are so complacent and so cool with how things have already been already tells me everything I need to know, bruh. Everything that we need to know has already been told to us, family. Y'all just got to stop allowing these people to gaslight y'all and make you guys feel like you don't have to be able to speak up. Speak up all the time. Stand on business every single day. Because guess what? They try their best to hold us down. So make sure that you stand on business, y'all. Make sure that you don't play around when it comes to these conversations, because like I said, like the brother Mr. Know-It-All said, they are all complacent. They're cool with that. They're cool with how things are. They don't want things to change. Meanwhile, foundational Black Americans, we standing on business. We fighting for equality. We fighting for us to be able to get ours that we are entitled to. Our ancestors died for this. You think I'm gonna allow that to happen on my watch, bro? Nah, bro. Like I said, my ancestors visit me in my sleep, bro. They visit me in my sleep, dog. They come to me and they make sure they surround me. They pray over me. I know people are praying for me. I get so many messages from friends and family who love what we doing over here. Okay? And they encourage us to keep going. They always feeding me new information about where our family is from, the genealogy aspects. Hey, Brandon, you need to make sure you knew that your so-and-so is from here or that your so-and-so is from there. I have a responsibility to my people and my community. All right? I'm boots on the ground. I'm out here doing the work. Okay? Like I told y'all, you can look on my channel. Ain't no faking, ain't no just talking around here. We in the community. We doing the work. We are aligned with the people who are going to do the work. And I mean this. I told y'all, I'm going to do it differently. I'm telling y'all, when I get to the point that I need to be at, bro, I mean this, bro. It's gonna get tricky out this month, man. Please, bro. Y'all better not. They better not let me in, y'all, because we gonna wreak havoc. We're gonna wreak havoc. It's not gonna be fair. It's gonna be exactly how they treated us. And I make this clear, bro. This is something that I want all of my foundational Black American people to understand, y'all. Enough with the treat people, do unto others as they do unto me and all that other. No, bro. Treat people how they treat you. Treat people how they treat you. Okay? For a long time, like I told y'all, we tried our best to align with other people. We tried our best to play these, everybody is all good, man. We gonna all make it. Nah, bro, those days are done. Delineation, we are past the point of no return now. So now the goal is to build. The goal is to grow. The goal is to make sure that if people are trying to be a part of what we got going on, you better be a part of the actual movement. All right. Where are you from? What do you represent and what you trying to do? Because we already got tangibles. We already got a plan that we are trying to stick to. Don't come in here messing up the plan. Because the moment you do that, the moment we will move on and not have to worry about you, family. Straight up. Ain't nobody finna be going back and forth with these people, bruh. And I mean that specifically from the bottom of my heart, dog. Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, y'all stay locked in. Stay focused. Do not allow these people to distract us from what we are actually moving towards, okay? We are closer than we've ever been to getting what we need to be able to build our nation, to be able to rebuild our community, to be able to grow, all right? We are closer than we've ever been. So don't allow these people to move the goalposts and to try to change what actually it means for who gets reparations and who doesn't. No, bro. I told you guys right here on this stream who participated in the enslavement of our ancestors, who gained money and riches from the enslavement of our ancestors. So these people need to go take it up with their establishment. They need to go take it up with their elites. Okay? Straight up, man. Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to be playing with these people, dog. I swear I'm not. I'm not, bro. I'm not going to allow them to hijack something that has been a very, very important part of our activism, and a very, very important part of our growth is to make sure that we are paid for everything that they did to us. And now that they've acknowledged that the atrocities that happened to foundational Black Americans, now that they've acknowledged it, they can't go back anymore. Y'all can't act stupid no more. You can't act like you don't know what's going on, that that slave trade was something that, no, bro. Enough, bro. Y'all acknowledge it now. You can't go back from it because it lives on the internet forever. Forever. Okay? Forever. So make sure that you guys stay locked in on that, man. Make sure that you guys stay locked in, bro. Because we ain't going to play those games. And make sure you like the video, man. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hype the video because this helps it get out. Because like I told you guys, these type of videos, these type of live streams, they are purposely suppressed because of the information that I'm giving y'all. And make sure you try to find these type of books, okay? People in Bondage, this book talks about it. The African slave trade before the 15th century, okay? This is what we talking about, man. These type of books, like I told y'all, they was going to burn this book. This book was going to get burned, okay? They were going to destroy this type of information. We ain't going to allow them. We're not. We're going to make sure that we bring the historical data that is necessary for us to back up the argument to say, nah, Ghana, I think you need to worry about your own country. I think you need to worry about your own people and what you guys did to them and how you sold them out. How you literally sold them out. You need to be worried about that. Okay? Worry about that. Salute to Mr. Know-It-All. He says it's so disrespectful for a foreign nation to speak on Black American reparations. Ghana is playing with us. Yeah, man. That's it, bro. 100%. They playing with us and they're doing their due diligence to make sure that we as a people continue to get riled up and all this other stuff, bro. Nah, man. We just gonna bring the facts and let it be known that they were willing participants in the slave trade and that their people need to hold them accountable. That's it. That's all I got to say on that, man, because we ain't finna be playing them games, y'all. We're not. It's not happening. Not happening over here, man. Hey, salute to Gerald Glover. Thank you for the super chat, bro. Gerald Glover, thank you, man. Hey, appreciate y'all donating to the channel, man, because when you guys donate to the channel, it helps me grow, okay? Like I told you, I'm working on a lot of stuff behind the scenes. And one of the major things I always talk about on my channel is the fact that my family runs a food bank here. All right? Right here in Long Beach, California, okay? So when you guys donate to the channel, I mean this. That is going directly to helping the community because like I said, man, I'm a career guy, okay? I'm a career guy. I've already made my money. I have my own business. Everything that is going on, I've already done this. So the donations and all that stuff is going specifically to help others, all right? That's just the facts, all right? That's just what it is, man. I ain't living like this for no reason. I put in the work to live like this. All right. So we gonna make sure we ride on that. Salute to AI How 9000 Africa. We are coming for our check. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Because guess what? They were willing participants in the slave trade. And like I said, they need to be held accountable for that. It can't just be the transatlantic slave trade. And then in the same token, they're also talking about, oh, no, well, actually, you know what? We need to come to America and hold the, no, bruh. That's what we're not going to do, dog. We're not finna do that. No, bro, because we've been holding the white establishment accountable for over 400 years. Before that, all right, we already talked about this, man. Hey, salute to Mr. Noto. I appreciate you donating to the channel, my brother. Hey, and you already know what it is, man. Indigenous roots, bro. We indigenous. Straight up, we indigenous, man. We are indigenous, bro. A lot of us are indigenous, and a lot of us was a part of that slave trade. Okay, a lot of us was a part of that transatlantic slave trade. So naturally, with the admixture together, we become the nation that we are today as foundational Black Americans. But the goal here, right? The goal is to continue to hold these people accountable because nobody else is going to. It's us versus everybody else. And I will always say that it's us versus everybody else. Okay? Because like they mentioned, there were 3 nations that did not acknowledge this UN conference. It was the United States of America, obviously. It was the nation of It's Not Real, right? We can't even say the word because y'all know how they be acting. The nation of It's Not Real and Argentina. Argentina got some nerve, bruh. Argentina has some nerve, bro. Listen, man, I got a lot of fam in Argentina. I got a lot of people who are a part of, you know, people that I love in Argentina. But it's messed up that they're gonna not acknowledge that, bro. Especially when they had African slaves as well, quiet as kept. Now, look, I might do a video on that. Okay, we might deep dive into the racial cleansing of Argentina. Okay, the racial cleansing of Argentina. All right, we might have to deep dive into that because Argentina playing with us. Argentina, you are, oh, I understand why you're aligned with what America doing because you just got them billions over there. So you kind of got to go along and get along, whatever. But now we got to expose you because you playing politics. And when you play the politics, we're gonna have to, exercise those demons. We're gonna have to bring those skeletons out of your closet. Because every day, I'm telling y'all on this channel, every day, I'll be exercising them skeletons in the white establishment's closet, okay? So make sure, like I said, make sure you guys stay tapped in, man. Make sure you guys stay locked in. Make sure you guys don't allow them to gaslight you and to make you think that you aren't deserving, okay? Because you are worth it. You are 100% a part of what helps this country and what has made this country great. Regardless of everything else that's going on outside that has nothing to do with foundational Black Americans and what we did in this country. All right, don't forget that. Okay, don't ever forget that part. Okay, so look, salute to y'all, man. I really do appreciate the super chats. Thank you to Gerald. Thank you to Mr. Know-It-All. Y'all really did that, man. I appreciate you guys because, like I said, them donations, they going somewhere, and I want y'all to understand that. Okay, we gonna do it right. Okay, AI How 9000 says in the Black Panther movie, the Tethers went in front of the UN trying to speak on behalf of FBI. Yeah, man. And that's a fictional movie. Okay. That is a fictional depiction of what really was going on. You know what I'm saying? Because in reality, you already know when I saw Killmonger, I just immediately resonated with his story. And you know, naturally, I wear a lot of black because, you know, I be on some villain type of time. And, you know, I resonate with villains because a lot of times villains be right. All right, a lot of times the villains be right. Okay, so you gotta not skip over that fact. You know what I'm saying? Killmonger, his entire ideology is a foundational Black American ideology. Quiet as kept. Okay, and Ryan Coogler being the writing aficionado that he is, I already know that was a part of the creator or the archetype for the character, right? And so naturally, you know what I'm saying, Killmonger was that dude, man. He was the one. He was the one that was trying to get it funky. He was the one that was trying to stand on business while everybody else, okay? Hey, I'm gonna leave it right there, man. So, hey, salute to you guys. I appreciate everybody who pulled up tonight, man. I might do a stream tomorrow. It just depends on how my workout goes because y'all know I'll be in the gym and I prioritize that. So I might, if I got some time, if I'm not tired, obviously, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna hop in here. But let's see right before I get out of here. Mr. Nordow says they didn't unalive Superman, Batman, Wolverine, the Joker, etc. But Black Panther, bro, they could have literally just got somebody else to play him, dog. Straight up, they could have got somebody else to play Black Panther. Nobody would have cared, bro. Obviously, you know, salute to Chadwick, rest in peace. But come on, man, we already know what it is. Salute to Norby. Hey, Nori, thank you for pulling up always, man. But salute to y'all, man. Make sure you guys like the video, hype the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And my name is Brandon B. I'm a part of Elite Media, and I'm out, man. Peace.